Welcome to another episode of First Past the Post podcast. I'm delighted to say we're back again for the new year. Liam, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, mate. I had a great Christmas, especially with all the great racing that was on. Really enjoyable. How was yours?
Yeah, brilliant. A lot of food, a lot of drink, and quality racing that we
Yeah, mate.
got to enjoy over this period. So, yeah, thoroughly enjoyable, mate.
Yeah, couldn't say it better myself.
So, of course, like we said, there was brilliant racing over the Christmas period, and we're going to obviously touch on that and recap what we, saw over that time. And there was a few standout performers, weren't there?
Yeah, mate.
So, but first, we're just going to quickly go over our picks from last time out, which was, of course, for the Boxing Day special, and just quickly go over them and what the latest scores are between the two of us. And just to quickly mention, if anyone's thinking, how long is this sort of point scoring system going to go on for? We're going to end it on the final day of Cheltenham this year. And then that will be our sort of final league table. So then we'll reset after that. So hopefully by then there'll be many more points on the board for the two of us. But I need to catch up now, don't I, after Boxing Day?
Yeah, mate. You didn't have a great Boxing Day, to be fair, but it's easy to get the points back up. So you're not out of it yet.
Not at all. And like I say, yeah, we'll quickly just go over our picks. So starting with you, mate. You had Broomfield-Berg, who won. Danny Kerwin, 0 points. Bravemansgame, who we'll touch on as well, won 3 points. Epperton won again, 3 points. We'll speak about her as well in a little while. Frodon, 0 points. And Anne Talur, who came second, which got you 2 points. And your nap actually ended up falling, didn't it? If I remember correctly.
Mate, I'm gutted. My nap was absolutely cruising. Thought my nap was going to win by some distance and fell, I think, about 3 out. So that's the way it goes, doesn't it? But yeah, absolutely gutting.
And just quickly going over mine, which, like you say, I had a bit of definitely the worst day yet. A shocking day. Pastor Doble ended up being a non-runner. Bothwell Bridge fell, if I remember correctly. Had Bravemansgame as well. 3 points there for me. Not so sleepy, very, very disappointing. Didn't look right from the beginning of that race, to be honest with you, and ended up finishing last. Lost in Translation, again, finished 5th, if I remember, which was a bit disappointing, considering it was very wide open King George last year. And our surprise, he didn't run a race at all either. So, and then my nap didn't win. So pretty awful day, mate. So
yeah, mate, you've had better days for sure.
I've had better days. So the latest scores after Boxing Day is you on 90 and me on 82. So I'm not a million miles away, but yeah, got a little while
got some
to
work
catch
to
up.
do.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll go into our picks shortly for this weekend at Sandown, which obviously features the exciting Constitution Hill. But first, we'll just, like I say, recap over the Christmas period a bit. So starting off with Bravemansgame, what did you make of him, mate? He was very impressive, wasn't he?
Oh, mate, it was a brilliant performance. I was watching it with my granddad. He doesn't watch racing as much anymore. And I remember he turned to me at the end of the race and he said, "That's a proper national hunt horse." And it was just a brilliant performance in a race that, you had two big rivals. And for me, it was possibly the race of the weekend. And with the bet we've got on with Bravemansgame for the King George this year, I'm not going to lie to you, I was a bit worried with Ahoy Senor potentially being a threat, but Bravemansgame was excellent, mate. Can't really say much more than that. Really impressive. And obviously after that, Paul Nicholls came out and said what we knew, he's going to aim him at the King George and potentially at Aintree before the King George and bypass the festival. But I think he's now said that they do want to go to the festival, which is interesting, but it would be interesting to see what happens. What was your opinion on it, mate?
Yeah, I was excited going into it. Obviously, like you say, with Ahoy Senor was obviously the main danger. But also one thing that did slightly concern me was I think just before the off there was a little drift on Bravemansgame, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly, and he
I
ended up.
think Ahoy Senor did go into favourite at
Yeah,
one point.
yeah. I think he actually went off as favourite, 11-10
Yeah,
favourite, and that concerned me a little bit. But I mean, throughout the race, Ahoy Senor had his moments, and you're thinking he looks a bit in control. But then, as the race went on, Bravemansgame's jumping was impeccable, and that's what that horse does at best, really. And his jumping,
yeah,
it's effortless, really. And he sort of tracked the leader, and then as soon as they coming round, you know, he got closer and closer, and then eventually quickened up and went clear in the running. So his jumping was, like I say, phenomenal to watch. And with Paul Nicholls saying his main target for this horse is the King George, later on this year now. I mean, when I heard that, I was delighted because obviously that bet we've both got on at
yeah,
25-1 for Bravemansgame to win this
yeah.
year's King George. So yeah, I
Now
mean,
into sevens as well
yeah,
for
7-1
that.
now. So what a
Yeah,
horse, what a horse. And it'd be
yeah, mate.
interesting to see, like you say, will he sort of go to Aintree or will he run at Cheltenham? But I mean, if he runs at Cheltenham, I think he'll be coming up against another horse who we'll touch on in a little while, who,
Yeah,
well, is an absolute monster of a horse.
yeah, agreed, mate.
And then next we had Epperton, didn't we? In the Christmas hurdle, the Grade 1 Christmas hurdle. She obviously went back and made it 2 out of 2 for my last 2 runs. Obviously with that dead heat at Newcastle not so long ago, with Not So
Hmm.
Sleepy, who was obviously so disappointing in this race. But I think she was sort of she needed to do what she needed to do. Really, she was always doing enough in that race, and you could tell she was going to win it. And I think Nico de Boinville didn't really have to get going on her at all. Really, what did you think, mate?
Like you said there, he just didn't have to get serious on her at all, and she just looked sort of near back to her best. I know she was getting, I think, weight off of every single horse, and maybe bar one, I can't remember, but yeah, I thought that would be the big like swaying factor in her winning the race, and it proved it was. But she just ran really well, mate, and I was really impressed. Obviously now you think the next target would be the Champion Hurdle, where you've got Honeysuckle, and looks like Appreciate It's going to go there now. So that'll be another top 2 horses she'll have to come up against there. Is she better than either of them? I'm not too sure she is, but it's good to see her back to somewhat near her best again. Horse that I love, and yeah, great to see her back winning.
Well, you mentioned there, obviously, Cheltenham's Champion Hurdle. I mean, no one's as good as Honeysuckle, and she's obviously the one to beat yet again. And I think we'll win again. Just can't see anything beating her.
Yeah.
But like you say, with Appreciate It, hopefully in there to make it a better race to watch. It'll be very interesting. But I just don't think Epperton's at the level really to be beating horses like Honeysuckle. So. But it's good to see her back, though. Like you say, slightly going back to her best and winning races again.
Yeah, agreed, mate. Couldn't put it better myself there. Spot on.
So, and then obviously we had the King George, which was, well, it threw up a bit of a surprise, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the ones I just couldn't see winning, and it was a bit like when we done our art preview, and I think we said just can't see this one winning, and I think I either did or almost did say can't see this one winning, and it's obviously happened again, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing because obviously, you had horses in there, Minella Indo, who I think Minella Indo and Frodon both sort of went from the front, didn't they, at the beginning?
I think that's sort of what spoiled the race. Them two sort of set a relentless pace, and the horses in behind obviously was left to pick up the pieces, and on the day Tornado Flyer picked up the pieces, but I think the race did really fall apart really with the sort of pace that was set early doors. Yeah, it was a very weird race, mate, and I would have liked to seen a sort of a slower pace run and stuff. I thought Candace Ober had a chance not far from home, but yeah, that Tornado Flyer stayed on really well, mate. And
he did.
Horse that does like the mud, so very
Yeah.
sloppy conditions, and he went on to get the job done.
I mean, also just another horse in there as well, Chantry House, who, if I remember correctly, actually, got backed into favourite on the day and ultimately ended up getting pulled up during the race. So he ran no race whatsoever, and it'd be interesting to see if he bounces back at Cheltenham. I mean, looking at possibly the Gold Cup for Chantry House, I can't, after that, I mean, if there was something not right with the horse, but he just seemed to, before getting pulled up, did not look right and just ran no race.
No, mate, I agree. Like I said, it was a very weird race, and there was a lot of horses in there that I expected to run better than what they did, and the race just, like I said, just fell apart, and it was no real race in the end. Really, it just turned into a sort of a battle and a bit of a mud fest as well.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get to see Bravemansgame win the King George this year, so that would be good.
I hope so, mate. Fingers crossed.
So, and then obviously Shishkin returned to winning ways in the Desert Orchard Chase at Kempton on the 27th of December. What did you think of Shishkin's return? I mean, it was only the 4 runners, but you had Grenadine in there, the Tingle Creek winner. So, do you know what I mean? I think he was impressive though. He did win it in really nice fashion. What do you think?
He didn't put a foot wrong, mate, and that's what I expected from him as well. I mean, I know, like you said, you had Grenadine there, but I mean, I think Shishkin was like 2-1 on, which I was even surprised at on the day, because I know some firms was giving evens on Shishkin. Really surprised me. People sort of was doubting, is he gonna come back on his seasonal debut and sort of impress the way he did? But he did, mate, and that's what I expected anyway. And ran a really great race. Jumping again was exceptional. I mean, just when they that button, mate, when the button's pushed, he just, I mean,
just goes,
gallops clear.
Yeah,
mate. He's an exceptional horse, and I mean, you've got a Nergamine over the other side of the water, who, I mean, a lot of the Irish think he's better than Shishkin, but I can't see it myself, mate.
I mean, that's obviously the battle we want to see, isn't it, between those two? But I mean, do you think we're gonna see that before Cheltenham? I mean, I'd be sort of fairly surprised if we do. I think they'll wait till Cheltenham, really.
Well, the thing is, they're both entered for the Clarence House, but I can't see that happening, mate. I think they'll both be. Well, I think Energamine's probably going to run there, and Nicky Henderson will probably pull Shishkin out and look for maybe another race, or even just send him straight to the festival.
Yeah, I agree with that, I think. But I mean, it is the battle we want to see, though, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, that'll be an excellent race, and there's no doubt about it. It's one of them two are the best. Do you know what I mean? But we all want to see who's the best, and until they come up against each other, we're not really going to have that decisive answer.
Yeah, and I think last year at Cheltenham, the Irish they just took over, didn't they? So with their record, so I mean, be interested if I mean, he's a special horse, Energamine, but like you said, I just want to see the two, but hopefully we see it soon. And the penultimate performance over the Christmas period was Galopin de Champs. This horse stood out to me. I think was probably the best performance, I'd say, in my opinion, which I most enjoyed watching over Christmas. And for him to take to fences that easily on his chasing debut, and he weren't coming up against no sort of low rated horses. He came up against a few decent horses. Like his jumping was exceptional, and I don't know what you think, mate, but he could honestly be a very, very special horse over fences, I think.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And I think after the race, um, I think Willie Mullins said we knew he was good, but we didn't know he was that good, sort of thing. And mate, it was exceptional. I've never seen, like you say, a performance like that from a novice chaser on debut. Really was something special. And
I mean,
I think at the festival you've got to fancy him, haven't you?
yeah, I mean, here's a question, mate. Is that the best performance you've seen in a beginner's chase? Honestly, I think it is. I don't think I've seen a
Yeah,
horse do that.
I can't. I couldn't name you one better off the top of
Yeah.
my head.
No, honestly, and I think at 6, I think he's only 6 as well. So, quite a good few years left in him, definitely. And yeah, what a horse, and he is a monster, and I can't wait to see him at Cheltenham. But a horse who we obviously touched on already, Bravemansgame. Is that another battle that sort of could commence?
It could be, yeah. I mean, like you said, it's if he goes to the festival, but I think he will, and it'll be interesting to see. But you'd have to fancy Galopin Deschamps on the back of that performance. I mean, that was just exceptional. But they're both exceptional jumpers from what we've seen so far over a fence. So it's gonna be like another Ahoy Senor Bravemansgame sort of style battle. Like this is the races we love to see, mate, and hopefully that's another one we get to see.
Yeah, but I just wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it. I don't know. I think with that talk of Bravemansgame potentially skipping and going Aintree instead, I'm not so sure. I mean, they might be too scared to go up against Galopin Deschamps, but no, I mean, again, it's another battle we want to see. But yeah, I think I'd agree. I mean, Galopin Deschamps, it was so impressive, wasn't it? It's just jumping, and the way he won was brilliant. So yeah, what an exciting horse.
Yeah,
and just finally, before we go on to our preview for the weekend at Sandown, we had 2 Willie Mullins bumper horses, didn't we, over the Christmas period, who, it's fair to say, both of them, I think, on debut looked very, very impressive. And out of the 2, mate, Facile Vega and Redemption Day, was there one performance that sort of caught your eye more than the other?
I did think Redemption Day won really, really well. Hard on the bridle. The jockey didn't even have to move on him. I think it was Patrick Mullins, but yeah, exceptional ride, and that takes nothing away from Facile Vega, who was also top class. Actually took 10-1 on Facile Vega for champion bumper the day before the race, and I think he's now second favourite, so not bad. But
yeah, because obviously those 2 for the champion bumper, but you've got American Mike as well, I think, for Gordon Elliott, who's a clear favourite, who again is another very exciting individual. But if we get to see those 3 fighting it out for the champion bumper, that I reckon that would be some race.
Yeah, mate, definitely spot on.
But am I right in saying Willie Mullins, we heard, didn't we? I think a few days before Facile Vega run, he was speaking about the horse, saying that, in training at home, he makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck.
Yeah, he did say that, mate. Yeah, so, and I mean, that was enough for me to put the bet on the day before on Facile Vega, and the performance obviously backed it up. Looks top horse, but obviously the one we didn't really hear about, Redemption Day, looks just as good, and he's got a nice crop of horses there for the champion bumper come the festival.
I mean, sort of over the Christmas period, Willie Mullins, he just seems to have a better day every sort of meeting. It just gets better for him. So many winners and impressive performances from his horses, which you obviously don't expect nothing less, but they just seem to be getting better.
Yeah, mate. It's ridiculous how he keeps churning out the talent that he does.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's our little recap over the Christmas period. So Shall we get into previewing the races for Sandown on Saturday?
Yeah, mate. I'll kick things off with the 12:05, and I've gone for Malacana. She won comfortably by 8 lengths on her hurdling debut at Fakenham. That was after transitioning, sorry, from the flat. The form in that race hasn't really worked out well, but she followed up that performance with a fifth place in a listed race at Aintree. I don't think she was at her best there that day. She drops back in trip and she receives weight off of a few horses here. I think that could sort of swing it in her favour. So that's my pick.
Yeah, I've gone for Moulin Clermont, promising third in 3-year-old hurdle at Compiègne, France, which was on heavy ground. So it was possibly unsuited by the much faster surface at Fontwell, which was good ground and didn't really impress so much on British debut. But I think this horse is open to major improvement back on softer ground. And this race last year was actually won by Gary Moore and Jamie Moore. And obviously the two are at it here again with Moulin Clermont. So I think with that experience over in France on heavy ground, and again, like the softer ground over here, hopefully, I think this horse could be right in the mix, definitely to win this. Definitely, yeah.
Moving on to the 12:40, I've gone for Gaulois. Willie Mullins' horse again. He's obviously sending her over here, so must fancy her chances. Came second to Sky Ace, who's also runs in this race in a Grade 1 at Fairy House. However, she was only beaten half a length, and I think she's the classier horse out of the two. Followed that second place up with a win in a listed race at Leopardstown last time out. And yeah, I really fancy her to go one better here.
Yeah, I've opted to go and challenge your pick again. I've gone for Martello Sky, Aidan Coleman on board. Tough and consistent mare with an excellent strike rate. Won a listed mares Norris over 2 miles 4 at Cheltenham in the spring. She also dug deep to take a mare's handicap over the same course and distance, which was on good to soft ground 4 weeks ago. And obviously another one who handles the soft ground and should really give another good go of things, really. And Aidan Coleman takes the ride. He's another jockey who's been, firing the winners recently. So that's my pick. And just to mention there, actually, you've got White Hot Chili Philly, who actually is in this race, and he won this race last year. Sorry, she won this race last year, but obviously, she's at a bigger price for Saturday. She's not really been at her best recently, so
one to keep an eye on though, for
sure. I've gone for Martello Sky there.
Moving on to the 1:15, I've gone for Red Happy. This is his first run in England following his arrival from France after changing trainers from Gabriel Leenders to David Pipe. He's won his last 2 races over in France on very soft ground, which I think he's certainly going to get at Sandown this weekend. Tom Scudamore takes the ride. I think this is a really sort of interesting horse to keep an eye on this weekend, especially with his last 2 wins in France coming on very soft ground. And that's going to happen this weekend at Sandown. It looks like they're going to have a lot of rain there.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's one thing to look at, isn't it? Quite a lot of these horses are acting well on the softer ground. I've gone for Faranet. Venetia Williams trained, Charlie Deutsch on board. Ex-French, won well in listed handicap over course and distance, again on soft ground last March on his second British start. Also looked capable of further progress at the time, but which was not forthcoming in at Cheltenham when he lost his shoe 4 weeks ago. But I don't think you can rule him out really after what happened at Cheltenham there, especially. And I think Venetia Williams is definitely a trainer who is impressing really at the moment with her strike rate. And she's on a roll really. And Charlie Deutsch and her together, you can't really look past them at the moment. All their horses seem to be in the mix. So Faranet for me looks an interesting one in the 1:15.
Moving on to the 1:50, I've gone for Numitor. He was second last time out at Newbury to Il Ridotto in a Class 2 handicap over 2.5 miles a furlong. He drops back to 1 mile, 7 furlongs and a half here, which I think he's better suited to, having won over 1 mile 7 in his previous run to his last one. His form is very consistent, having not been out of the top 3 in his last 7 runs. Having come second last time out, I'm hopeful he can go one better this time.
Yeah, I've gone for the favourite actually in this. Gunsight Ridge, trained by Ollie Murphy. Aidan Coleman on again, currently at 11-8 favourite. His last run out, travelled quite strongly, sort of pressed the leader, few out, and sort of pushed along down the running. And form reads, second last time out, third before that, and then second again, then third, then second. So there's a lot of seconds and thirds there. But I think, he's sort of got the best form, and I think we'll finally sort of get his head in front this time round. So yeah, I think Gunsight Ridge has got a great chance, and he was also 6 lengths behind La Homme Presse, who obviously is a horse that
he's been very, very well lately. La Homme Presse, another top horse.
Venetia Williams, and just to quickly mention there, La Homme Presse won at Ascot very nicely, and then obviously followed that up at Cheltenham as well. So yeah,
one to keep an eye on there.
100%. So I've gone for Gunsight Ridge. I think he's got the best form here.
Yeah, good luck to you there, mate. Moving on to the next race,
the big one,
the 225. We've both gone for the same here, haven't we? Constitution Hill, obviously one of the best novice hurdlers in the country at the moment. Looked exceptional when he won here on his debut. I mean, the way he powered up the hill, his speed was frightening, mate. I've not seen that sort of speed for a while. He looked really, really quick. And I just think he's a class above the rest of these horses. I can't see nothing troubling here. So that's who I've gone with. And I'm pretty sure you've gone with the same.
Yeah, you can't not, can you?
Yeah.
He, like you say, I think the way he won, on debut was astonishing, really, because that turn of foot was absolutely
impressive.
Brilliant. And, to do that first time out, he's gone into sort of second favourite for the Supreme at Cheltenham, and just looks a very, very classy prospect. And I think I heard the other day Nico de Boinville came out and said, like, when he's on him at home in training, like, he sort of, he's one of those where you can just tell, and he's quite calm, and he's a typical racehorse, a really good racehorse to have, really. So all the signs are there.
I did see Nico actually I think he was sort of really asked the question, who would you sort of rather be on out of the two, John Bon or Constitution Hill? And I think he was sort of hinting at Constitution Hill, but obviously I think sort of Aidan Coleman's sort of been given the job on the ride on John Bon now. So has that got a little thing to do with it? I don't know, but hopefully we find out in the festival who's the better out of the two. But Nicky Henderson's got 2 top prospects there.
Well, we both love John Bon, don't we? And I think just quickly speaking about that, because obviously there's been a bit of a progression there with the Supreme runners. Obviously John Bon winning at Ascot, and then Sir Gerhard, who won really nicely. And again, with those 3, if they're in the battle together, I mean, I'll be on obviously John Bon, but I think Sir Gerhard's a very interesting one, really, and can't really be written off against the 2 of them.
Yeah, that's going to be a top race, but we'll see come the festival, mate. Yeah. Moving on to the 3 o'clock, I've gone for Wandering Star. He has a course and distance form here after winning last time out. Showed that he still has a lot of heart when he stayed on really well late on. Sort of jumped the last and sort of powered clear, but that was his first run back after wind surgery, and that sort of looked to do him the world of good. And I think he can come on more for that run. And I think Well, that's who I've gone for, but I think at 8-1 as well looks quite big.
Good each way value.
Mm-hmm.
I've opted to go for a different pick again. I've gone for Fergal O'Brien's horse here, Final Nudge. Currently second favourite in the market, so just ahead of yours. Placed in the 2021 Midlands National on only his second run for Fergal, and then justified favouritism in the Veterans race at Warwick, which was 3 miles good to soft ground. Now only £3 higher, still well treated and acts on heavy ground. So, I think he's shortlisted to do well. And I think I'd be definitely happy to take on ASO, the favourite.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of has been a sort of bit of a classy sort of chaser in the past when he finished second in the 2019 Ryanair, but I think he's sort of not really gone on to impress after that, but had a good second last time out. But no, I'd be happy to take him on with Final Nudge.
Mm-hmm. Best of luck, mate, there. And moving on to the last pick before the nap in the 3:35.
We've got the same, haven't we?
I've gone for Volkovka.
Yeah.
She was second at Sandown last time out, only losing by a length and 3/4. Had she jumped the last a bit more fluently, I think she'd have won that race. Fergal O'Brien's yard is in good form at the moment, and Paddy Brennan takes a ride. He's also in good form. I think she's got a big race in her here, so that's who I've gone for.
Yeah, I've gone for the same, mate. Like you say, Fergal O'Brien, I've picked, last race was his horse as well. It could be a quick fire double for him here. But no, what you say is spot on. It was both on good to soft ground as well when this horse ran, and appeared to be fine on soft and heavy as well last term. Probably needs further improvement, but she's respected and sort of is a definitely in form candidate, really, if you're looking at the form wise as well for this race. And like you say, Fergal O'Brien, I think he notched up I think 90, just under 100 winners, I think, last year. So yeah, the form reads well. The yard are doing really well. And just to mention, actually, Fergal O'Brien, we'll mention at the end, but there's something very interesting coming up with him soon.
We'll get to that at the end. But looking forward to that. Going on to the nap now. I've gone for Desk de Lille at Wincanton. Won comfortably on seasonal debut at Foslas over 2 miles on soft ground. Stepped up in class in his last 2 races, and is given a good account of himself there, actually. And obviously Venetia Williams, again, like we said, the yard is in great form and stepping back down to a class 3 now, having run in a class 2 time before. I think that could sort of make all the difference, and that's who I've gone for there.
Yeah, sounds a very decent pick. That I've gone for the 1:10 race at Lingfield, obviously on the Saturday as well. I've gone for Radetzky, Jane Chapel-Hyam's horse. Holly Doyle takes a ride, and I think with Holly booked for this ride, I think that's a sort of, I think it's a positive sign, because this horse, if you look at the form, it's not good, really. It's not good at all. But he's actually a course and distance winner, and that came in the summer of 2020. And like I say, the form it's gone downhill a bit. But for this yard now with Jane Chapel-Hyam, it's only £2 below his last winning mark as well. And just another thing to mention, I think his last few races, he's actually been quite well backed in the market, and that must suggest there is something expected and something better to come. So I think with Holly on board, it could come. Radetzky could win this. So my nap is Radetzky in the 1:10 at Lingfield on Saturday.
Just to mention there, I forgot to give the time of my race. Mine's actually the 2:05 at Wincanton. So sorry for that, but the 2:05 Wincanton.
Yeah, so hopefully I don't get another non-runner nap, because I think I've had that twice now. So I need it to come in. So interesting one, I think. So So yeah, that's about it, I think, for this episode. And like we said there with Fergal O'Brien, we announced on our social media pages on our Instagram and our Twitter that we're actually going to be getting Fergal on as a guest, which hopefully, if all goes well, podcast episode should be coming out within in the next few days. So I'm absolutely delighted we've managed to get him on, and I'm sure you are,
first
mate.
trainer. Yeah, mate, first trainer we've
Yep.
managed to get on. So what a great one to start with. And like I said, really looking forward to hearing from him and sort of finding out a bit more about his career. And yeah, like I said, can't wait for it, mate, and roll on.
And well, I've tipped up a few of his horses this weekend, so hopefully that's a sign. Hopefully it's a good sign. So no, yeah, buzzing for that. And like I say, if all goes well, it should be out in the next few days. And yeah, if thank you everyone for listening again. And we just like to say on our recent episode, Boxing Day one, we did just surpass over 100 views on that on YouTube and Spotify combined. So we just like to say thanks everyone for listening and following us and supporting us so far. And we hope you all had a nice Christmas, and we're looking forward to getting back into things now for 2022.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Thanks for listening, everyone. And
and obviously, if you want to follow our Instagram, First Past the Post Pod. On Twitter, we're at FPTP Podcast. And then obviously, if you want to subscribe to us on YouTube, we're First Past the Post Podcast, which would be much appreciated. Like the videos, all that, it'd be really helpful. And that's our Sandown preview recap over Christmas done. So happy New Year, mate. Roll on.
Yeah, thank you guys. Cheers for listening.
Take care. Cheers.